I'd like to call the Tuesday, June 16, 2020 City Council meeting to order. The first two items on the agenda, the invocation and pledge of allegiance, which will be led by our city attorney, Mr. Tom Trask. Please rise.
Our Heavenly Father, we gather together today intent on doing good work. We seek to represent fairly and well those who have given us this task. May our efforts be blessed with insight and guided by understanding and wisdom. We seek to serve with respect for all. May our personal faiths give us strength to act honestly and well in matters before us. We recognize our responsibility to the past and the future and the rights and the needs of both individuals and our community. As trusted servants, we seek blessings on our deliberations and our efforts here today. May we act wisely and well. This we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. You want to acknowledge that we have past Mayor Doug Beavis here with us. He's dressed up. Good to have you here.
Oh.
I was mowing my grass and saw Al go by and I thought, uh-oh.
All right. Next item on the agenda is the Citizens Open Forum. I did want to make a comment for those of you who are here to speak about item 16 on the agenda. That would be the rezoning discussion. I do want to make sure you realize that tonight is not a public hearing. So when we get to that agenda item, there won't be comments from the public at that time, but you can make them at this time during the Citizens Open Forum, okay? If that item does move forward, then we would have two other public hearings that'll also be listed on the website. I forgot the dates. Okay, anyhow. Citizens Open Forum, you have 5 minutes. Please give your name. Make sure you include your address as well as your city and state. We don't want to assume you're from our city. So I will start on this side of the room. I'm going to move to this side of the room. And I'm going to go to my friend in the back. Come on up.
Hello, can you hear me okay through the mask?
Sure.
Okay, perfect. Amanda, 135 East Lake Club Drive. I'm the City of Oldsmar's Poet Laureate, and this is the first time I've been up here in quite a while, so
And we've missed you.
I'm happy to be back, and I've missed you too. So happy to see your faces again, and I'm glad you can see half of mine. So my poem today is called Mastering Peace. It said that during the plague, Shakespeare brought forth his pen and wrote King Lear, but we shouldn't have to become playwrights during quarantine nights. If getting rest is the best you can give, no one should tell you how else to live. Ignore the projects Pinterest is listing, because it's okay to focus on existing. And if that is reading, breathing, or crochet, your definition is valid and okay. Find the purpose that gives you the spark, whether sleeping or practicing art. If you're waiting on permission, then here it is. You alone define your own bliss. So ignore the pressure to create a masterpiece when it's hard enough to master peace.
Very nice, very nice.
Thank you.
So I know Amanda has homework assignment she's about to give out. Am I right?
Yep.
All right, bring it.
So my challenge to you is to write a poem that gives yourself permission to do something you've always wanted to do.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. And it could be, just like the one I wrote, give yourself permission to relax, to just give yourself permission to do that thing that you've been wanting to do.
Go on vacation.
Yeah.
No, not that. No.
Ignore it. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And it's good to have you back.
It's good to be back.
A little different, huh?
Yeah, it is. It's very different. It kind of threw me off a little bit.
Yeah. All right.
And with that, to keep up with social distancing, I have dinner waiting for me at home.
There you go.
Thank you for
There
this
you
time.
go.
Thank you.
Thank
It was nice to see you all.
Good to see you,
Thank you.
Amanda.
So that'll be our second meeting in July?
Yes.
Yes. Second meeting in July.
The only meeting in July.
The only meeting in July. Okay. All right, before I close the citizens' open forum, is there anybody who wishes to speak? All right, we're going to move on. Next item on the agenda is the community minute, and our city clerk, Dan Nixon.
We have holiday closures coming up. City offices, facilities, and the library will be closed on Friday, July 3rd, and Saturday, July 4th, in observance of the Independence Day holiday. And the city council meeting, as you've just been talking about, is canceled for the July 7th. We'll be meeting again here on July 21st. Cypress Forest Rec Center will be closed to the public this summer due to summer camp. However, State Street Center is now open Monday to Friday from 9 to 4:30. And for your recreation needs, please call 813-749-1155. There are also still summer camp openings. So if you need to use the summer camp for a place for your children to play and learn, call 813-749-1152.
Thank you. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the approval of addition of new agenda items. We have item 17, item 18. The chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do I have a second? A motion and a second. Presenting you ready to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, motion passes. Awards and recognition. Councilmember Gannon, I believe you're up.
See if this thing actually works. I hear you if you shake it. So I'm debating if I want her to come and stand here this whole time or if I just stare at her during the whole speech. So listen, a few months back, this is the March 2020 Council Manager Award. And I hope you all remember that a few months back, John Hauser from our independent auditing firm was here to present the results of our annual audit. And this magical document here, the CAFR, the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, which is the city's financial statements. And he said dramatic improvements were made to the process and the actual documents included in there. And he gave a very specific compliment to a very special member of our administrative services team, and that was Amy Ratliff. So for 10 years now, the city of Oldsmar has been privileged to benefit from an astounding number of projects she's undertaken, a fraction of which I'm about to tell you about, of course. But our accounting administrator in that time has also been a wife, a mother, and bottom line, a beloved coworker. I had specific conferences with each of them. Amy's husband, Brett, and she have two children, one a former valedictorian in college at a little aerospace university you might have heard of, Embry-Riddle, no big deal. Also, huge hockey nut. Second child is an accomplished hockey player in middle school and a consummate trombone player. So, got goals. Amy's from Massachusetts, but grew up local. She's a Bull, so go Bulls. I mentioned the audit and the CAFR, and this giant document here, this is our story. This is our history and our future. This is our planning document. It looks really boring when you flip the pages. It's in like 8-point font. But I promise you, to this woman and to her team and to the city leadership, it's the Bible. It really is. And putting it together has always been sort of an outside job, sort of an inside job performed in tandem. And for the very first year, Amy, she has lots of goals, lots of them. But one of them was to bring this document completely in-house, which is a pretty big goal. She's got lots. And as of this year, she's done it. She did it. She created an interwoven web of codes on these Excel spreadsheets that literally dance together. You input one number and then it translates to another spreadsheet and then spits out a report on another document or a Word document. It's crazy. If you have a death wish, change one of those numbers. I promise you, she will find who you are and she will find what number you changed immediately. I've been told it was tried once, just as a test. On top of all that, you got to remember, she did it twice. because we report government statements and then financial statements. This was all explained to me, by the way. I don't have this institutional knowledge. This had to be broken down in very tiny, bite-sized, politician words for me to be able to understand. And these codes aren't created in a vacuum. These numbers don't just appear in a vacuum. She doesn't just enter them and they appear. These are all in compliance with evil semi-governmental agencies like GASB and FASB and GAP, and I don't even know all the letters. I really don't. I just know that every year they spit out new ones like iPhones, and you have to just deal with it. She deals with it constantly. And every one of her numbers is accurate. Like I said, I mean, if you're insane, change the formula or put in a different number and she will find you. Y'all, we attempted to purchase commercial software to do this, and she knew that she could do better and do it more accurately. Every number on these pages flows through this process. I'll show it to you if you guys really want to see it. It now conspicuously matches the rest of our financial documents, our budget documents. Here, let me find some really, really tiny print. See? I bet you can't see any of those. And I hear she's got another project now where she wants to make the Microsoft Word items also appear magically. The numbers appear in the text as well. This is her baby, but the astonishing thing is that the audit and the CAFR are just a fraction of what she actually does for the city. This is just one piece. She does this in her spare time, because she's also doing, let's see, payroll, very important, utility billing, very important, deals with the IRS, provides policies and procedures for the admin services department, and she does it with incomparable accuracy and grace. And she's hysterically funny. Her colleagues call her the Rock, endlessly resourceful and poised. My friends, as a city, we are endlessly grateful for her talents, her dedication. Amy Ratliff, recipient of the Council Manager Award for March 2020. Turn this guy back on. Please bring him. One more picture, Felicia. You gotta smile. And I know her team is also here, all smiling at her from behind masks.
Jeez. So thank you to John. John's here, and Sandy's here, and Cindy's here. Garrett and Nicole and Tanya are not here, but I'm going to pretend that everybody from utility billing is here to see me, even though they're here to see Lisa. So thanks so much, you guys, for showing up. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Congratulations, Amy.
Congratulations. Congratulations, very well deserved, very well deserved. And being on council, that book, it never ceases to amaze me, because I'll always end up with all these questions and, oh wait, there's the answer. Wait, there's the answer. It's all in there. It's a great document.
Say one thing?
Sure.
Amy, one thing Katie left out is you play goalie. And when you play goalie, you're incredible in the net. Thank you for playing goalie, too.
All these hidden talents, see? All right. Next item on the agenda, presentation of Employee Service Award for 25 years. Our city manager, Mr. Al Braithwaite.
Top that.
I did turn it off. Sorry.
Good evening. As the mayor mentioned, we have a service award to give out tonight for 25 years for Lisa Hill. I'll handle it the same way, but if you'd like to come on up, Grandma. Lisa and I have known each other for a long time. I know better than to give that to John. Congratulations.
He does the bank.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
As most of you know, I do a little homework on my employees. It wasn't hard to do for Lisa, because Lisa and I have been pretty much here for she's been here 5 years more than I have. But my first thought when I was going through her file was, if we had a department called critical thinking, she would be the director. So with that in mind, know that if I get any of this wrong, she's going to correct me. And I mean that as a compliment. Okay, so her 25-year anniversary, or 25th anniversary is actually this Friday on June 19th.
Yes.
So far, so good. She was hired as a customer service clerk, then a clerk 2, whatever that is, in 1997.
Senior customer service clerk now.
Senior customer service clerk now. Then supervisor on January 1st, 2003.
Okay.
She's buying it. She's been a supervisor in the same position for 17 years. If that isn't enough, you should be more impressed that she has stayed, because she has directly or indirectly worked for me for all of those 17 years. And she didn't quit. Now, this is for the water cooler. And I was thinking again about this. I'm going to anoint her the most underappreciated employee we ever have had, and I'll tell you why. I challenge anybody, and Amy can speak to this, Cindy can speak to this, all of finance can speak to this. I challenge anybody to spend a day in utility billing. Okay, I'm a little thin-skinned. She has been in utility billing for 25 years. Generally speaking, utility billing is where everyone swears that it is physically impossible for them to have used as much water as we are charging them for every single month. Mary, Carol, do I speak the truth? And 25 years in that office, she has made it her own. 6,000 accounts of one kind or another: water, sewer, reclaimed water, fire lines, sprinklers, stormwater, solid waste, special sewer, out of city limits services, commercial, residential, you name it. No one goes to college to become a customer service supervisor in utility billing. That's generally a real position to get where it's difficult to get somebody to be good at it, let alone to stay. We used to make kind of a joke about Sue Farrell. Sue Farrell just had this amazing way of being blunt with people, yet nobody seemed to ever complain about it. Well, she lasted 8 years. Now, she's still with us in another capacity. 25 years, same position, in what is absolutely the most thankless place to be that we have, I'm convinced. If they did go to college to become that, you should worry about them. Here's one of the things that makes her so special to us is her intellect. Her intelligence serves us very, very well, but specifically, most people don't realize this, utility billing is responsible for about $9 million a year. So she is the center point responsible for making sure that we get the dollars that are supposed to be coming from us. And while she has support help, that's a very important function of what she has to do. Her job responsibilities include taking flack from irate customers, which I mentioned, managing staff, working with employees from other departments in the field, working and adjusting and improving the billing system, which she has done a tremendous job of, troubleshooting the handhelds used by meter personnel who don't work for her, managing vendor relationships, managing contracts, maintaining relationships with Pinellas County, East Lake Woodlands, who are bulk customers, other bulk customers, commercial customers, and residential customers. You may not think that sounds like much, but that's a boatload of things to be on top of. Lisa was with us when we first got ADG. You've heard us talk about American Data Group, which is our enterprise resource system, back in 98, 99.
99.
Damn it. I know it's close. She was part of the original data transfer. Now she is the in-house expert on all things ADG related to utility billing. She has a tremendous eye for operational efficiencies and continues to take advantage of the features provided by the ADG system, something we can't say about too many of our everyday users. She's executed also our conversion to a web-based system in 2011 with help from finance. She's a technical expert in all related portions of her job. Simply through hard work, continuously studying the system to see what else it can do that will make our lives easier or more efficient. I can't overstate how intelligent she is and how she has improved our operation over the years. It is a great help to other departments. She is a great help to other departments, lending that knowledge to any who need it. Recent example being an assist she gave with a massive mailing list for communications and marketing, something they greatly appreciated. She has been a teacher, she's been a coach, she's been a mentor, and I'm sure at times a counselor. Unfortunately, my terminology was stolen. I've made this reference to Cindy. I also said steady as a rock. Sorry for copying your reference to Ms. Ratliff. And what you'll see, the commonality there is when you work in finance or in a finance-related field, you have to be a rock because you're going to get hit. Tremendous ability to accept criticism without getting an attitude, something that I've absolutely been blessed with. She stays even-keeled no matter what is happening. She's unflappable. Historically, she's been known to make house calls, if you need her, if we were unable to forewarn a customer about an issue and she knew it was important. Yeah, I said house calls. She would get in her car. She will go to the house of the person we're trying to communicate with. That's above and beyond. She rarely misses any time, which is greatly appreciated. I found 9 commendations in her file. May not sound like much, but again, we're talking about utility billing. Generally, the only kind of comments you get are the things they don't like. It's her fault if there's something that's gone wrong with the bill. We always hear about that. So I consider that to be a significant number of commendations for her file. Rarely misses any time, which I mentioned. And I also mentioned that her favorite, well, I didn't say it this way, her favorite work-related pastime, when she has a couple of minutes, which is rare, and it goes back to my comment about being in charge of critical thinking, is correcting the newsletter. Now, we actually appreciate this because we strive to put out a perfect product, even if it's only to the employees. And as I said before, if I had a critical thinking department, she would be the chair, and that is a compliment. She's also been an Olds participant since its inception. She has served on the Employee Grievance Board, which indicates the respect that she commands from her teammates. Great family. She's lived here in Oldsmar for over 20 years. 99, 98? Close?
Lived here,
In Oldsmar.
2002.
18 years. That one I didn't know, I was winging it. Husband John, as you met, is also a dedicated public servant. He's on the city's firefighter pension board, and we appreciate his service. She's also grandma to Dylan and Cameron. Can I tell the Cameron story?
And Abby.
And, well, now Abby. Okay, so
Yes.
most people know that I like kids, and once in a while in the holidays, some of our employees will bring the kids around and they'll come hang out with me. I play catch with Max when he was little. And she brought Dylan around, her oldest grandson, and we kind of hit it off. So when Cameron joined the world, then she made sure to bring Cameron by, and they came up to see me, and Dylan was all excited because we get to hang out, and Cameron was so excited he projectile vomited on me. I was hoping they were here, but... Yes, he did. He left a stain on the carpet, true. He left a stain on me, but you know, that I considered that good stuff because it came from a kid. Thank you for letting me tell that, by the way. Anyway, congratulations, Lisa, for an amazing 25-year ride. Thank you for everything you've accomplished and led the division to. I can't think of anywhere else in the municipal world where someone has persisted for so long doing something so difficult. I usually say here, here's to another 25 years, but I wouldn't wish that on you. You have made us better, and we hope you stay with us forever. But bottom line is that we want to thank you for all you've done. Thanks.
Says I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. And somebody that is a face you all used to recognize, Jeff Clark. He came to be here. We used to get our awards at the same meeting every year. And hi, Rita. She couldn't be here tonight. She couldn't be here. And thank my husband for all his support all this time. I go home and sometimes vent to him. That's how we survive in utility billing. And my coworkers for coming out to support me and for all the nice things you said. And it's 5 more years.
That's awesome.
Well, congratulations. Congratulations. I missed these
Right?
recognition not being given out, you know, because you learn more detail about the folks who work here and how fortunate we are. And so, congratulations. All right, moving on. Tell you what we're going to do with the council, if they would indulge me. I'm going to entertain a motion to suspend the rules of the day so we can move item 16 up, which is part of the city manager's report. And that way, if we have people who are here who are waiting, they're not going to have to wait all night. They'll be able to get to it sooner, and we can kind of thin out. So I'll entertain a motion, suspend the rules of the day. Do I have a motion?
Move to suspend the rules.
Second.
I've got a second. Any discussion? Something you're ready to vote? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we're going to go to item number 16, which is under the city manager. So I will surprise the city manager and turn it over to him.
Thank you, Mayor.
Item 16 is authorize city attorney to prepare ordinances for LUZ 20-03, address 507 South Bayview Boulevard, parcel ID 23-28-16-63937-023-0030, rezoning from R2 to ROR. The property currently has its zoning designation of R2, residential single-family district with the city land use category of residential office retail, and county land use designation of retail and services. The current zoning and land use are incompatible. The recommended motion is to authorize the city attorney to prepare ordinances for the aforementioned land use rezoning, to rezone property from R2, residential single-family district to ROR, residential office retail zoning designation, subject to restrictive covenants allowing all future development of the property to be residential only. The applicant has been notified of the restrictive covenant recommendation and has indicated that he has no objections. I believe he's also provided a written document that was distributed to the council, and the staff report is attached in your packet.
Do you have staff going to make a report?
Up to you, if you'd like one.
Yes.
Marie?
Marie Dauphiné, Planning and Redevelopment Director. I have a short PowerPoint. So, as the city manager said, this property is located south of St. Pete Drive and east of Bayview Boulevard. And it's a request for rezoning from R2 residential single family to ROR residential office retail. So it consists of two lots, Lot 3 and Lot 4. The surrounding property, it's kind of outlined in the red there. This is south of the subject property. It's a single-family residential house. Across the street, on the west side of Bayview Boulevard, it's also a single-family residential house. To the northwest, it's a single-family residential house that has been improved or renovated. Directly north is the Bayview Motel, commercial hotel. So the request was for the residential single-family district to ROR residential office retail zoning district. The current city land use is ROR residential office retail, and that's not really consistent with the R2, the existing R2 zoning. The county land use is retail and services. So here's a city land use map showing the Bayview Motel that's also ROR and the subject property that is ROR, residential office retail. The county land use is residential, retail and services. And here's a zoning map and shows the surrounding district. You can see it kind of looks like spot zoning, but because those two lots south of the Bayview Motel are also with the land use of ROR, then it is consistent. The council adopted the consistency amendment with the countywide rules. You can see that our designation of residential office retail is consistent with the current countywide plan map category of retail and services. The current use is single-family residential, and that's for Lot 3. Directly behind the Bayview Motel is Lot 4. There's kind of a older residential house that is in great need of repair. So the applicant is proposing 3 townhomes. It will provide a buffer from the hotel on Bayview Motel, and it'll provide land use and zoning compatibility. And here's a elevation of the townhomes that the applicant provided on the side elevation. So this is going to provide a buffer between the residential uses and the commercial type uses to the north. So the ROR zoning district will allow all uses permitted in the RM15 residential multifamily district, all permitted uses in the C2 commercial general district, and all uses permitted in the office general district. And as a conditional use, it would permit single-family residential. So looking at the surrounding district, staff felt that there should be some sort of a buffer or, a covenant to protect the residential uses. So we are proposing that if it is rezoned to ROR, that there will be restrictive covenants. The restrictive covenants would only permit residential on the site. And they could go to, a townhomes or the single family, provided that there was a conditional use approval by the council. And the restrictive covenant would be recorded in Pinellas County. And to remove the restriction would require it to come back to city council. So staff has evaluated the rezoning request pursuant to Article 3, Section 3.15.3, Standards for Approval of the Land Development Code. And based on that review, staff recommends the city council authorize the city attorney to prepare an ordinance to rezone the subject property from R2 residential single family to ROR residential office retail, subject to including the restrictive covenant that would only permit residential uses on this site. And we notified the applicant, and he had no objection. The planning board met on June 10th and concurred with staff's recommendation. The vote was 7-0. Oops. Any questions from the?
Any questions?
Question. Could you go back to that slide where it said about, there was something about a conditional use that it could stay R2? Is that correct, or?
No, if
did I misread that?
In the ROR, if you were going to have single-family homes, you would have to go through a conditional use process, and it would have to come, yes.
Okay.
It's single-family now, they still have to come back to the council.
Understood.
But when you look at it, even though there's 2 units, and there's a single-family, you could have a single-family in each by approval of conditional use, this is only one more unit, the triplex, so I don't know if it's really going to negatively affect, but it's going to provide a buffer.
Okay. Thank you.
Questions?
No questions.
Vice Mayor.
Okay, so the whole thing about the zoning being R2 and the land use being ROR, and I watched the planning board meeting, and I asked staff about it as well. There's we don't have any answer as to why that happened. Like, it seems in the meeting it said that you guys researched it and it went all the way back, and it's always been ROR, yet it's always been residential.
Well, we had consistency amendments like in the early 90s, so the countywide plan map was reviewed against our map, and that was on the countywide map. So I think that it might have occurred then.
Okay, so then you stated just earlier that the Bayview Hotel is ROR? I
Yes.
thought that was commercial. Okay, so if that's ROR, and your argument toward changing this one to ROR to have a buffer, what is going to stop the next person over from wanting an ROR the next property over? It seems like I understand the reasoning behind it. I understand the consistency that you want to have with the county map, but I don't understand whether that's going to stop. That's going to be it. That's the only one that's going to be ROR. Nobody else can then say, oh, well, we want a buffer, so we want to put three or four townhouses up
Got to
here.
be evaluated case by case.
So
but I
it's a
think,
possible scenario.
yeah, if you left it, the R2, so it's kind of a disconnect with the city land use and the county land use, they'd have to come in and just construct single-family homes.
Right, I understand that, and
And would somebody want to be right behind the Bayview Motel? That would be the decision somebody would have to make.
well, somebody's gonna buy a townhouse right behind the Bayview Hotel. So, okay, so that, I was a little unclear as to where that all started. My other question is, and I might be wrong on this, but, okay, so if the city says that you can do 15 per acre, and the county says you can do 24 per acre, correct? Okay, so he's saying he's only gonna do 3, but what stops him from doing 4, 5, 6? I
Because he
understand.
doesn't have he doesn't have
He
the
doesn't have
land.
enough land, 'cause it's .377 or
Yes, he
something
doesn't
like
have
that.
enough
So he only has enough land
to
in
do
order
3.
to do impervious surface and everything else. But he could, it says proposed, he could go from 3 to 4.
No,
He could not. He
could
could if he
not.
put the garages on the bottom and went up, but then he'd be too high.
no, because he wouldn't have enough area to construct 4 units. He's under, you have to have so many units per acre. but he-
Okay, that was unclear to me, because when he was questioned by people, he said, well, it's in my thoughts, I really want to do 3 because the density and blah, 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 but he also has things written up for 4. So we're sure that if this passes, it's only going to be 3.
We round down for, number of units. So he only
Said
has
he would- he
2, what are they, 50 by 150?
He said he was going to be 2,000 square foot if they were 3, but if he did 4, he would decrease the square footage. That's what he said in the planning board. I don't know.
We
That's why I'm
talked
asking.
about it, but I don't believe that 4 would be, he wouldn't be able to meet the setbacks. There would be issues too with the setback issue and.
RV parking and handicap parking and all that stuff. So, okay. Is that my only question? And I guess the only other question is an obvious. It has to pass this council to pass. Even though it's got the inconsistency, it's still up to us. Okay.
If you leave it, then whoever the owner of the property would come back for a conditional use, maybe to construct a single-family residence.
Well, it's already single family, right?
It's R2, but there's an incompatibility with the ROR.
Okay, so because of the incompatibility, he would have to still come back to say, I want to build 2 single-family homes.
Well, let me ask the city attorney. Tom, what's your opinion there? That's what I think.
Yeah, I would agree with Marie that that is what would be required, yes.
Okay. Those are my only questions, thank you.
When they adopted that map in the early 90s, I think they created a lot of parcels non-conforming. And there was always the assumption that this would be, State Road 580B, so it would still have some commercial or mixed use or office uses, along St. Pete Drive. But that 20 years, it's never happened.
But weren't those houses already there? Those houses were already
Right,
there.
exactly. But that's why I think the land use is like that. But I'm just making an assumption.
Okay, thank you, Marie.
Yeah, we have a few places in the city still that are non-conforming properties.
Correct.
And so it's an ongoing task, and in any event.
Well, it's not city initiated. When the applicant came to us, we tried to work with him, so.
Right. Questions?
No questions, just discussion.
Okay, thank you. Is the applicant here? Because I understand they have a PowerPoint?
I do not, that was the PowerPoint.
That was the PowerPoint. Okay, does anybody have any questions of the applicant?
This is going to come back to you for 2 public hearings, 2 quasi-judicial hearings where you'll receive the evidence and testimony about the entire project. This is more or less basically.
It's housekeeping, it's not housekeeping, but it's directing you to go and draft an ordinance that'll go through 2 hearings. No, I'm aware of that.
Based upon the applications that we received, yes, okay.
Okay. But I still would like to ask the applicant a couple questions. So if you could, come up. Give your name and address for the record. I'm glad it's funny. Was that the mayor?
It was.
Sorry.
Hello, sir, how are you?
Good, how are you? Ed Ruland, 313 Park Boulevard.
Very good. Any questions? Did you have a question?
I have a couple.
No, but remember, I mean, kind of concise, because it is going to go through a full
It
public hearing.
passes.
Right.
Yeah, so I can ask questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Ed, thank you. And thank you for your thoroughness in answering the questions in the planning board, because there were a lot of residents there and a lot of residents had concerns. My questions for you. You said at the end that you would be willing to do a fence and landscaping to help the residents that are going to be affected. I just wanted to verify.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And I think that was my only question, because I wanted to, if it passes, I wanted to make sure that that got on the record, because it seemed like that was a concern of a lot of the people that were there. That's the only question I have. Thank you.
Wow, that was quick.
You said to be quiet. I listen. I can follow directions.
You hear. You don't always listen, but that's okay.
Nobody always listens.
All right, I had a couple. Anybody else have any questions?
No, Mayor.
I just had a couple quick questions. What do you expect the target price is going to be of these units?
That's a great question. I don't think that's really been determined yet. Hard for me to say. I mean, if they're going to be in the range of 1,800 to 2,000 square feet, whatever the market rate is for that. Being that they're townhomes, I'd imagine that they're going to be a little bit less than single-family homes would be.
Okay. And then I saw the answer to this, and I also just read the letter that you brought up here, which answered that question. And so how long do you think it will be? How long have you owned the property now?
A little over a year, well, a little bit more.
How long do you think it will be before, because that property looks like a real eyesore.
It does, I understand.
And you've owned it for a year.
Right. I apologize, things kind of got away from me. It was brought up that it got out of control, so I went out, had someone clean up a lot of it just about a month or so ago, so.
Well, I went by there on my way to here, and so.
And there's still some debris out front that needs to be removed, so.
So get the property cleaned up.
Absolutely.
Please.
Sure.
All right, and one other question I have in terms of, let's just assume that this goes through the process. When would you anticipate breaking ground over there?
As soon as possible.
Okay, all right, that's all the questions I had. Anybody else?
Just one question, Mayor. So the old house, you're gonna gone.
Yeah, I think unfortunately, it is an older home. I love historic homes. I've looked at it, had some contractors in. I don't know that it's really salvageable or that there's much value to it either. I looked at Jared Beverland's books, and there weren't even photographs of that particular house, even though it goes back almost,
Yeah,
It's pretty
that's
deep.
that'd be a real,
Yeah.
be a real.
I had hopes to maybe do that and maybe even relocate it if it had value, but I'm not sure that does. It's a lot of termite damage and a lot of structural damage.
One more question?
One more question, and you're not going to believe I forgot this one. Ed, again, several of the residents also expressed concern about the live oak. Is there any possible way of saving that live oak?
I don't think so. Part of that goes to sort of the design of the neighborhood and trying to conform to what the setbacks kind of are along there. In order to do that, it almost sits on the lot line in the middle anyway, and it's a little to one side and it's back. So theoretically, you could design something that would do that, but it wouldn't look appropriate. The facades wouldn't be up near the street the way you want them to be.
If you knew me better, you would know why I asked. Everybody knows why I had
And
to
I
ask that
appreciate it,
question.
because I love those trees myself, and it's unfortunate, yeah.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
All right, the chair will entertain a motion to accept staff's recommendation. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve, Mayor.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second,
Second, discussion. Anyone have any discussion?
couple things.
Go for it.
Flip it to this side.
That's it, we'll go that way.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. This letter that we received just prior to the meeting, and I thank the applicant for submitting it, because one of the things that I know has been an issue just a couple blocks over is the height issue. I appreciate a commitment to maintain the height at 2 stories tall, of course, taking into account the flood, base flood elevation. But the issues at Park and St. Pete Drive as to height became a big problem for neighbors, neighboring property. I also appreciate the commitment to provide the privacy fence and landscaping and maintaining a craftsman style kind of aesthetic with the surrounding property. The restrictive covenant was a big deal for me. I really wanted to make sure that stayed residential, and that area is in vast need of improvement. There has been a recent purchase and improvement to a neighboring property there that I think really increases the value of the homes surrounding that area. And I do appreciate that this will act as a buffer to the Bayview Motel and even across the street where there's more commercial issues. I think this is a really great improvement to this particular location, and I appreciate the applicant's commitment to clean up the property as it stands until it is developed. So I am certainly in favor of authorizing the city attorney to go ahead and prepare an ordinance in line with the planning board's recommendation.
Okay, any other comments?
I've got just a little bit.
Go right ahead.
I was going to say that based on the site plan that was delivered in our packet, I wasn't as much of a fan of that versus the one that we got just prior to the meeting. This one looks a lot better, especially with the elimination of the on-street parking spots. So I just wanted to put that on the record. I think this one is a much greater step in the right direction if we wind up with 3 units there.
Good, good. Any other comments?
One other thing I just wanted to say, what Andrews just mentioned is the packet that Felicia gave us today is a major improvement. I think the design of the whole package looks wonderful, and it's going to be a great improvement to that street and that lot. That's all I have, Mayor.
Very good. Vice Mayor, anything?
I too appreciate the residential covenant, but I do want to say that of the citizens that spoke, the majority of them did speak against it, with the exception of the one right next door, the Spanish, he's concerned, but pretty much everyone else is very concerned about the density. They're very concerned about the parking. They're very concerned about it not being compatible with the neighborhood. They're very concerned with it being like the one on the corner of Park and St. Pete. So I just wanted to let everybody know that didn't watch the planning thing that the majority of the residents in the neighborhood are against it, so.
You know, in my sense, I watched the planning meeting as well, and my sense was that most found a great deal of comfort in the restrictive covenant.
They did, that is true.
And what I always, anytime there's one of these issues, I always tend to look at it from a couple of standpoints. Number one is what's being put there an improvement, right? And what's the likelihood of the impact to the value of neighbors' homes? This is going to improve their value. I believe that. And I think that, I don't think there's anyone who would disagree with that. And then also the fact that there's homeowner rights. You know, I mean, people buy property, they go through a process. I mean, that's the way we work. So could someone else come in the future and we start a trend? I'm sure someone could, but that will be decided at that time by that council. That's the way it goes, right? So, all right. Sensing you're ready to vote, roll call, please.
Surprised her.
Vice Mayor Norris?
No offense, Ed, no.
Councilmember Saraki?
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp?
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon?
Yes.
Mayor Seidel?
Yes.
Authorization to the city manager to prepare ordinances for the land use on 507 South Bayview passes with 4 votes for and 1 against. Councilman or Vice Mayor Norris dissenting.
You said city
City
manager.
attorney, yes.
Thank you. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion to return to the rules of the J.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Sensing you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Next item on the agenda, community redevelopment. Authorize city attorney to prepare ordinance to amend town center code to increase density for hotel use in the town center commercial residential TCCR zoning. The chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Yep.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I was just curious about those 2 votes, the 2 no votes.
Surprisingly.
What happened?
Have you seen the meeting?
I did not see the
You
meeting.
should see it. You know, that's one of the values of having these all online now. It really is. But we're going to talk a little bit about our advisory, citizen advisory board, some ideas. But I think, you know, my take on that, one was they expressed a concern of, you know, the density's there for a reason. We shouldn't make any changes to it. But I also think that there's a little bit of a, maybe a disconnect in terms of everybody realizing how vetted this process has been. And that maybe that it was being somewhat, not carelessly done, but not well thought. And so,
I was surprised.
Yeah.
I was very surprised because this has been very well vetted for over a year and a half now.
Yes.
We've
Yeah.
been kind of discussing
And
this.
so that's my take on it, but, so, any other discussion? Centing, you're ready to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Next item on the agenda is a consent docket, which will be announced by our city clerk and Nixon.
Item number 4, approve minutes of the June 2nd, 2020 City Council meeting. Item number 5, approve minutes of the June 3rd, 2020 City Council Annual Planning Conference. And item number 6, approve payment to legal counsel for May 2020 legal services.
Does anybody wish to pull anything from the consent docket? The chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Any discussion? Centing, you're ready to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. City attorney,
Thank you. I've got a bunch of items tonight. I'm going to start.
busy. You're busy. You change your rate, and next thing you know, we got more items. Sure, it's a coincidence.
Changed my rate, so.
Oh, there you go. Touche.
Privilege.
There you go.
Oh, boom. Perfect lawyerly answer,
Is that right?
right?
So
You're
item,
right.
item number 7 on your agenda is adopt Resolution 2020-17, and I'll read that by title only. Resolution 2020-17, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending Resolution 2019-11 to extend the date in which the Ordinance Review Committee is to issue its report to the City Council and providing for an effective date hereof. That was reading Resolution 2020-17 by title only.
Chair will accept a motion to approve.
So move.
Do I have a second? Motion and a second. Any discussion? Centing, you're ready to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Item number 8 is Resolution 2020-18. I'll read that by title only as well. Resolution 2020-18, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, ratifying Executive Order 2020-24, which provides for the extension of the COVID-19 state of emergency through June 8, 2020, ratifying Executive Order 2020-25, which cancels Executive Order 2020-03 and reinstates fees for electronic payments on utilities, ratifying Executive Order 2020-26, which cancels the Executive Order 2020-10 and removes provisions for virtual public meeting attendance, ratifying Executive Order 2020-27, which cancels Executive Order 2020-06 and allows groups of 10 or more people in city parks and on city trails, ratifying Executive Order 2020-28, which cancels Executive Order 2020-07 and allows groups of more than 10 people to meet while following state of Florida provisions, ratifying Executive Order 2020-29, which provides for the extension of the COVID-19 state of emergency through June 15, 2020, and providing for an effective date hereof. That was the reading of Resolution 2020-18 by title only.
Chair will entertain a motion to accept, to approve, rather. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second? Any discussion? Sensing you're ready to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item 9.
Thank you. Item number 9 is public hearing on adoption, second reading and adoption of Ordinance 2020-03. I'll read that ordinance by title only. Ordinance 2020-03, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending the future land use plan element of the comprehensive plan of the city by amending the land use designation on those certain real properties described as parcel number 22-28-16-96660, 017-0150, and parcel number 22-28-16-96660, 017-0270, as further described in Exhibits A and B, from County Land Use Designation of Residential Low Medium, RLM, to the City Land Use Designation of Residential Urban, RU, and providing for an effective date. That was the second and final reading of Ordinance 2020-03 by title only.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Does anybody from the public wish to speak on this matter? Seeing that there is no one, we will close the public hearing. The chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Sensing you're ready to vote, roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Norris?
Yes.
Councilmember Saraki?
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp?
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon?
Yes.
Mayor Seidel?
Yes.
Ordinance 2020-03 is adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 10, this is a public hearing for the second reading and adoption of Ordinance 2020-04. I'll read that by title only. Ordinance 2020-04, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, rezoning certain real properties described as parcel number 22-28-16-96660, 017-0150, parcel number 22, 28, 16, 9, 666, 0, 017, 0270, as further described in Exhibits A and B from the county zoning designation of R4, 1, 2, and 3 family residential district to the city zoning designation of R3, residential 2 and 3 family district, and providing for the effective date. That was the second final reading of Ordinance 2020-04 by title only.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this matter? Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion to accept.
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Norris?
Yes.
Councilmember Sakhi?
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp?
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon?
Yes.
Mayor Seidel?
Yes.
Ordinance 2020-04 is adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 11 is the public hearing for the second reading and adoption of Ordinance 2020-05. I'll read that ordinance by title only. Ordinance 2020-05, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending the future land use plan element of the comprehensive plan of the city by amending the land use designation on those certain real properties described as parcel number 22, 28, 16, 9, 6660, 0090, 0130, and parcel number 22, 28, 16, 9, 6660, 010, 0120, as further described in Exhibits A and B, from the county land use designation of residential low medium RLM to the city land use designation of residential urban RU, and providing for an effective date. That was the second final reading of Ordinance 2020-05 by title only.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Would anybody wish to speak on this matter? Seeing there's no one to speak, we'll close the public hearing. The chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do I have a second? A motion and a second. Discussion? Sensing you're ready to vote, roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Norris?
Yes.
Councilmember Saraki?
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp?
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon?
Yes.
Mayor Seidel?
Yes.
Ordinance 2020-05 is adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you. Item 12.
Item number 12 is the public hearing for the second reading and adoption of Ordinance 2020-06. I'll read that ordinance by title only. Ordinance 2020-06, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, rezoning certain real properties described as parcel number 22, 28, 16, 9, 6660, 0090, and 0130, and parcel number 22, 28, 16, 9, 6660, 010, 0120, as further described in Exhibits A and B, from the county zoning designation of R3, residential 2 and 3 family district, to the city zoning designation of R2, residential single family district, and providing for the effective date. That was a reading of Ordinance 2020-06 by title only. It's a second and final reading.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Would anybody from the public wish to speak? Seeing there's no one, we will close the public hearing. The chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Sensing you're ready to vote, roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Norris?
Yes.
Councilmember Saraki?
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp?
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon?
Yes.
Mayor Seidel?
Yes.
Ordinance 2020-06 is adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
I thought for a moment you were going to leave me off there. It sounded like you were done.
So thank you very much. I'm all done.
Good work. Wow.
Efficiency.
I'm telling you. Well, you get what you pay for, that's why.
Right.
Next item on the agenda is city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 13 is to adopt Resolution 2020-15, which is revising the fiscal year 2019-2020 annual budget. Attached is Resolution 2020-15, revising the annual budget for fiscal year 1920 for the General Fund, Community Redevelopment Agency Fund, and Water Sewer Operating Fund, which all require adjustment at this time. I'd like to read the resolution by title only. Resolution 2020-15, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, revising the budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2019, and ending September 30th, 2020, authorizing the city manager and the director of administrative services to revise the existing budget. That concludes the reading of Resolution 2020-15, and I can answer any questions that council has about the details.
The chair will entertain a motion to approve first.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. Any questions? Did anybody go look up and see what the baby excavator looked like? I did, I can't lie.
It's really cool. I want to drive
I
it.
was just upset there were no pictures in staff's report, so, but
I saw a picture of it.
I had to go look. All right. Sensing you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 14 is a purchasing item. In reference to the comment you just made, it's a request for council approval to waive bid
Got a little ahead of
purchase
myself.
of a 2020 Caterpillar mini excavator to Ring Power Corporation per the Florida Sheriff's Association bid FSA 18-VEH 16.0 on piggyback form 19-003B. Public Works is requesting the purchase of a new 2020 mini excavator per the Florida Sheriff's Association contract, as previously mentioned, for a total of $38,230. This equipment is used by the DNC crews to excavate and complete repairs, especially in backyards or other tight places, and will be replacing a 2009 compact excavator, fleet number 420, which will be sold at public auction. Funding for the $38,230 purchase is appropriated in the fiscal 19-20 operating budget in the 401 fund, and staff recommends approval.
All right, the chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
A motion and a second. Anyone want to discuss this?
I got one thing. My 3-year-old grandson, every time he sees an excavator, he yells, "Excavator, excavator."
Yeah, Jackson does too.
It's nice.
Oh, yeah.
All right, since you're getting ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Item 15.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 15 is request council approval, permission, to waive bid requirements and award the purchase of a MyCloud Connect cloud-based phone system to Mitel under the same pricing terms and conditions as the Mitel Sourcewell contract, formerly known as the NJPA, number 022719-MBS on Form CC 20-025. The current telephone system was purchased in 2012, and ironically or not, I find the timing of this a little suspect. The phone system for external use today has been under repair all day, and that's the first time that's ever happened where we've been down for more than a day. Anyway, the current telephone system was purchased in 2012 and is nearing the end of its useful life, as evidenced
Today.
a new cloud-based system will provide a unique extension for 150 city employee locations for a total cost of $2,700 per month, including estimated federal telecom taxes of $2,070 base price plus 30% for estimated telecom taxes, or $32,400 per year. This cost will be partially offset by the savings of the elimination of other costs, including the telephone system maintenance fees, local telephone service, and long-distance calling fees, with a net annual cost of $14,900, including taxes. The Administrative Services Information Technology Division recommends migrating our current on-premises telephone server to Mitel's Unified Communications as a Service, also known as UCAAS, managed phone service in the cloud offering. This upgrade would do more than move our phone numbers and voicemail to the cloud. It would also provide for great flexibility for end users who travel, and the UCAAS system would be especially advantageous to the city's Emergency Operations Center during a disaster. The funding for this purchase will be requested in the 2021 operating budget in the respective general fund, water sewer operating fund, and stormwater fund divisions, communication services accounts. With my apologies, staff recommends approval.
And why is it your apologies? I mean, I try to
Council
call
is
you
not
right now.
empowered to authorize an expenditure in the next fiscal year until the budget is approved. So I read what was on the paper, and what I really mean is we will be funding it this year, not next year.
Not in next.
Okay, well, considering our phones don't work.
Yeah, let's,
Apparently my mind doesn't either, but
All right, the chair will entertain a motion to approve. I have a motion, I have a second. Discussion?
I just wanted to make a quick comment. We have Mitel at my employer, and our phones, that outside line was non-functional today, but everybody was still able to call inside, desk to desk, so.
Ah, nice.
it makes me feel a
Test that
little
it
better.
works.
Right.
I thought it was on purpose as soon as they found out we were doing something else.
I think it's fantastic because we move toward accomplishing more of those council priorities, more connected city.
Yeah,
This
absolutely.
is what people do now.
I'm
This
just glad
is
to know
perfect.
what it's all about when you explained it to me, Mayor.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be informed into the 21st century.
I can't wait to see it working.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It's long overdue, and the flexibility that it gives us is amazing.
Wonderful.
All right. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Sensing you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. City manager, you got anything else?
No, sir?
All right.
you.
City clerk.
I don't have anything except to wish you happy and safe July 4th.
Aw, thank you.
Thank you. All right, next section of the agenda is City Council. Item number 17, schedule fiscal year 2021 operating and capital budget work session. I know that we had 2 dates that we were kicking around, but as I understand it, that the only date that actually will work for everyone was Tuesday, July 28th.
Okey-dokey.
So are we good on that?
Yep.
All right, let's set that as a date. Item number 18, appoint voting delegate for the Florida League of Cities 2020 Annual Conference. You know the tradition.
Can I do it?
I want to. I was last year.
No, we're going to keep the tradition alive, and I'm going to nominate Andrew Knapp to take that honor.
I wanted to nominate.
Accepted. So is there a motion?
I make a
I
motion to
the
approve.
motion. I'll second the
And a
motion.
second? Any discussion? Anybody else want to? No? Okay.
You know, all kidding aside, there could be some really important resolutions this year, so
Yeah.
it is an important position.
Well, and it can be
and-
done remote too.
I
Yeah,
see that.
and
That's a
it was-
first.
It was very educational last year.
You got away with it.
Yeah.
Well, there's always next year, too. All right, since you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All
Welcome aboard, Andrew.
opposed? Anyone wish to pull anything from the tentative agenda for July 21st, 2020?
No, Mayor.
Anybody wish to add anything? Chair will entertain a motion to accept the tentative agenda as presented. I have a
Second.
motion, I have a second. Discussion? Since you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. I'm going to go council comments, and I'm going to go with Councilmember Knapp first, since he's got the new delegate's job.
Time to roll.
Time to roll.
Thank you, Mayor. I've got a few things. First, I just wanted to say thank you to those citizens that did come to that planning board meeting and speak. That's, it's exciting to see, that if there is some opposition, that people are out there voicing their opinions, especially in light of, past experience where they said they didn't know what was coming on Park Boulevard there. So I was really happy to see that. And, for those that might still be opposed, there's still hope. If you want to voice your opinion, there's going to be 2 public hearings. So. Next, we spoke just briefly before the meeting. We have the Pop Drop Tailgate on the 20th, this Saturday. Dan, you're going to be there, right?
Yep.
I don't know what time I'll be there yet, but I will be spending some hours there, Linda, as well. Okay. So that's benefiting Oldsmar Cares, and actually through my employer too, we are going to be unloading everything they've collected that Saturday, the following Saturday. So that's pretty exciting.
That's great.
The next thing I have is recently there's been some complaints of people in regards to mosquitoes, and Katie and I saw online dealing with some people. So the county actually will take care of any complaints about mosquitoes. You can request through their website, through email and phone. So I just wanted to point that out because that was something I learned and didn't know was available before. The next thing is I just recently drove on Forest Lakes Boulevard on the opposite side for the first time. I don't know if anybody else has yet, but that was a little interesting because it feels a little tight right now versus what they did on the other side. But I know once it's done, it'll be a whole lot nicer. So I'm really looking forward to that because that's my daily commute right back through there. And then finally, I just wanted to say happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. It's my first one and kind of an interesting time to be a dad and start raising a family. So I just wanted to extend my thoughts to all the dads.
Well, there you go. Your first of many.
First of many.
First of many. Well, good for you.
That's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Good. Councilmember Saraki.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. 2 items I want to talk about. There's been a change for the awards dinner for the Suncoast League of Cities.
Oh.
It's going to be September 26th, Saturday night at Bascom's Chop House. It starts at 6 p.m. I know Al is going to attend, and if anybody else here could please attend, it would be, I'd be grateful that you would attend. So write that down, September 26th, Saturday night. And the second thing is the Suncoast League of Cities is hosting our annual planning conference, planning meeting, right here in Oldsmar.
Oh, nice.
I know. I don't know if there's ever been one, so I'm kind of excited. You're all invited. Mayor, if you could come in the
Sure.
morning just to do a quick speech, I would be thankful and honored if you could do that for me. It's July 11th at 8:30 a.m. till noon. 8:30 is breakfast. The meeting will start at 9. It's at Tico Hall. And there still are quite a few council members that are concerned. So you're gonna be able to do it via Zoom. So we'll have a Zoom computer set up via Zoom. So some council members around Pinellas and Hillsborough County and Pasco County that want to be on Zoom can be on it, so they can attend the meeting. Or you can come live, and we will have social distancing set up inside Tico Hall for the council members and the mayors that do show up for that. And the last thing I want to say is, Andrew, congratulations on being the nominee for the Florida League of Cities. I look forward to working with you, and you're going to enjoy it. It's a great organization, and I think you're going to jump in just like Katie did last year. And happy 4th of July to everybody. No fireworks. Don't blow off your hand. That's all.
Very good. Good positive note to end on. No fireworks. Vice Mayor.
I'm gonna take my mask off for this. Whew. Okay, I want to piggyback on the mosquito thing. I had them so bad, I was getting bit inside my house. So I called Pinellas County Mosquito Control to come out and test and everything else. And apparently, if you have neighbors that have containers that aren't real good with what they're doing in their yard, they can blow over to your yard. But the most interesting thing I found out was that in all the years, they put these little traps out in the salt marshes to catch mosquitoes, to have an indication of how bad the mosquito season's going to be. And it's been traditionally 50 mosquitoes. And about a month and a half, 2 months ago, it rose to 3,000 mosquitoes in the trap.
Wow.
It went from 50 to 3,000. Okay, so I was talking to the mayor about the mosquito problem, and there was mosquitoes in my car. Okay, remember? I was
You were,
there's
yeah.
mosquitoes in my car. Anyway, but if you call them, I called them on a Friday afternoon. They were at my house on Monday morning doing the testing and giving me all this little lesson on mosquitoes. Happy anniversary, Kathy and Steve. She's not here. Where's Kathy? Kathy?
Doing her anniversary.
Celebrating her anniversary. Yeah.
Better go do that.
The other thing, real quick, is I know I've talked to y'all about the VFW Auxiliary, and we are very, very, very proud that this coming up Thursday is our very first meeting, and we're going to have some dignitaries. The mayor's going to be there. Dan's going to be a member, but he's coming as an honorary. Felicia can be there. I haven't heard if Katie can be there yet. But just let me know. And Gus Villarakis is sending Lisitos.
Oh, good.
And yeah, so Jerry and Wanda Beaverland are going to be there. And that's the only time that y'all have to come, okay, if you can come. Anyway, we're just very excited about it. It's going to be at Tico Hall, and we're just really excited that all the work that we put in for all this time. The other thing I have is the mayor had gotten some requests. I had gotten some phone calls of citizens asking about the 8 can't wait thing with the sheriff's department, but it didn't pertain to the sheriff's department. So some people had requested from Sheriff Gualtieri that, what is the policies and everything else. Well, not only did he send it back in a very timely manner, he put the policy, what the Pinellas County Sheriff's policy was, and they revised it to make it better. And I was in contact with him today to thank him, because they do such a good job. You do such a good job for us. But to see that he got back with us right away, and not only did he just give us the policies, he gave us the policies with revisions to make it closer to being safer for both the citizens and the police officers or law enforcement officers. So I really wanted to give a shout out I told him that I would be giving him a shout out today. So thank you very much, Sheriff Gualtieri, for that. And happy Father's Day to you, fathers, and happy 4th of July. And that's all I got. Mosquitoes, VFW, and Sheriff. That's it.
That's it.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome, Councilmember Gannon.
I am very happy to return to awards and recognition. Last week I was working on what I wanted to talk about tonight with Amy,
And it just feels good to start the meeting off with a smile and with our staff members again. That was a big deal to me tonight, and I really appreciated that she was willing to bring her family and still observe the social distancing and use the masks and everything. And I'm looking forward to more meetings with clapping at the beginning and awards and recognition. So thank you to our city staff and city manager for bringing it back. I do regret that I cannot attend the VFW meeting this Thursday, but I wanted to make sure it got mentioned in the event that I got to go first. And of course, the Project Pop Drop support it this weekend, every day. I mean, we've got bins in every building, in every business across this town. There is a bin where you can drop a can, drop a package of socks, drop something in to help out. It makes a huge difference. And I just wanted to say a happy 4th of July to everybody and wish you a safe and wonderful holiday. And make sure that those fathers out there are recognized for all their contributions to our community. Happy first Father's Day to you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome. I got a couple of items, not much. Most of you already talked about the items that I was going to, so I'm not going to.
Same.
Other than I will once again promote the tailgate party for a pop drop. Sharon Edwards has worked incredibly hard on this, as she always does. And Oldsmar Cares will tell you that this whole event this month, along with the tailgate event, really sets them up supply-wise, and they rely on it. So it's really important. I would encourage any citizen who wants to go out there and volunteer, you could just show up. You know, they're doing things a little bit different. They're not going to be like last year. Unfortunately, there's not going to be the hot dogs cooking and that kind of stuff because of the concern being safe. But I would love to be there, but I will be on vacation. I am taking vacation.
You need a vacation.
I'm leaving on Saturday. I'm going early. I'm going to Orange Beach, Alabama.
Oh, that's a beautiful place.
I was supposed to be bringing all the kids and everyone to the Cayman Islands, but we're going to Orange Beach. So almost not quite the same.
Minus the plane ride.
That's it. We're driving.
Yeah.
We're driving. So anybody who can make it out there, please do. I did want to comment. I would encourage all of the council members, and I was reminded of this when I was watching the planning meeting, right? And I think our folks did a really good job on that board, working with the citizens who were there, who were expressing their concern. They were very patient. They, you know, really allowed them to go through the process. I thought that was great. I was struck, though, that I think, at least the impression I got, was that some of them, not all of them, really did not realize how much vetting that hotel location's gone through, and how much countless hours that this council and staff has put into going through the process, understanding what the economics of it is, what's needed. Because I almost got the impression from some on there that the council was kind of blind to it and just blowing past some of the density issues. And that has been set over there. But, you know, we're talking about a difference, I think, of like 21, 23 rooms difference with this change, the net change. And we'll see. But it got me thinking that, and I've talked to Al and Felicia about it, and that is looking for ways to improve maybe some of the communications or training with those citizens who serve on those boards. Making sure that, you know, if you're on planning, you really should know what council is doing on the concept plan and all these other things, because, you know, you should be able to have kind of a good working knowledge of it. And I don't know that we've made that kind of effort. And so we're going to try to work on some things to try to kind of keep that line of communications, in particular, the training part of it. But also, I'm sure that other boards that we have, having served on a couple of them myself, there's probably more we can do to help those board members, A, be better prepared when they get appointed, you know, B, maybe ongoing some training from time to time, that maybe their section of whatever the council priorities or whatever their particular task is, that we invest that to make it more beneficial for the people who serve on those board and, of course, the work that they do. So I wanted to mention it to council, but I would encourage council to watch all of our meetings. Certainly, I realize we're all busy, but it's, you know, it's time well spent, because I would also say that one of the reasons I really wanted those meetings online was for that purpose, because I've always felt like it's inappropriate for a council member to go to those meetings. I've always felt that way, and why is that? Because we appoint them. And so, I don't know, I've always just kind of felt it's better, let them do their thing, but you can see how they operate. And look, we appoint them, we reappoint them. And so, you know, I could tell you that if there's someone who I think is not being professional with their peers on one of those committees, I wouldn't re-support putting them back on. You know, I mean, that's just, it's not fair to the others who volunteer. So, but I thought the meeting that they did overall, I mean, I was really pleased with the way that they gave those citizens a lot of time. And this is the value, to me, one of the values of those type boards is we didn't have those citizens come tonight and speak. I know some were coming and listening, and maybe they'll come when there's the public hearing, but it really was an opportunity in a different environment to let them really express their concerns, and we can hear about that. In any event, it's something that I think we're going to probably invest in and spend some time in, and I'm sure that everybody will enjoy it. All right? The only other thing, happy 4th of July. You all enjoy. Council's been working hard, and we get this little break here for a short period of time. Be kind of nice. And so, and happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, and the new one too. So, all right. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. I got a motion. I have a second. We're done.